and welcome back to a new travel vlog on my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the top 10 places you just have to visit on your vacation to Hawaii. So I just got back from a 1-month epic adventure vacation in Hawaii with my friends at Insta360. So in this video, I'm going to be covering the best locations you have to visit, the activities you have to get into, some budget tips, and other tips and tricks you can only get from someone like me who have had the pleasure to live on the Hawaiian Islands for 2.5 years. If you're new to me, my name is Martin Solhaugen. I'm a 27-year-old full-time YouTuber. I make travel guides from all over the world, and this time we're going to be covering Hawaii. Alright guys, so the Hawaiian Islands is generally mistaken to just be one island. But once you visit Hawaii, you realize that there are actually a lot of islands, 137 volcanic islands in total. There are 8 major ones and 6 of them which you can visit. In this guide, I'm gonna be covering Oahu, which is the major one with capital Honolulu, and I'm also going to be sharing some really cool tips from the big island of Hawaii. So there is not really much more to say. This video is brought to you in collaboration with Insta360 and their One X2 camera. This is my favorite go-to camera on my travels right now. Films 360 degrees around me. A large majority of the epic travel footage you will be seeing in this guide was shot on this specific 360 camera with the 3-meter carbon fiber extension pole. This is so funny. There will be a little link in the description of this video, which you can click and it will take you to their webpage. And in return, you'll get a little discount on one of their cameras. So that's awesome. Let's jump straight into that list. I'm excited to have you here. This video is gonna change your perception of Hawaii. And after you watch this video, once you watched it all the way to the end, which I know you're gonna do because you're starting to enjoy the video, you're gonna understand exactly how you should plan your next Hawaii vacation. Let's go. Number 10 on the list is Waikiki Beach. Waikiki Beach is located on the island of Oahu. Waikiki is also in Honolulu, which is the capital of Hawaii. Major city, skyscrapers everywhere, bars, expensive shopping malls, delicious food. There's a lot going on in Waikiki, and it's definitely one of the most crowded touristy places on the island. However, you cannot go to Hawaii without visiting the famous Waikiki Beach. It's a very gorgeous beach. I would highly suggest you to watch the sunset there. Also make sure to try a little surfing. It's a wonderful location for first-time surfers. Costs as little as $10 for 2 hours to rent a board. You can also rent a convertible, drive around, have a good time. Waikiki Beach should definitely be on your list, and it's where most of the hotels are also located. Number 9 on this list is a hike called the Crouching Lion. This hike is located on the east shore of Oahu, and it's very beautiful, a little bit off the grid, less people. Last time me and my best friend did it, we jogged up in about 20 minutes to this very nice lookout point. And it's one of those places on the island where you can actually walk for several minutes without seeing any other people. Once you're on the top, you also get this very gorgeous view of a bay. And if you're feeling a little extra adventurous, you can climb all the way to the top. Here's a shot on the Insta360 of me and Kim climbing onto the ridges up there. It gets quite sketchy. So the upper part is definitely a place you have to be experienced to do. The reason it's called the Crouching Lion is because there is a little rock formation there that from the right angle looks like a lion. It's pretty cool. It's number 9 on the list, and it's definitely worth a visit. Number 8 on the list is also on Oahu. It's called the Maunawili Falls. Oahu is not really known for having waterfalls, but there are a couple of them on the island which you can visit. The reason I personally enjoy Maunawili Falls is because it takes you a little bit of time to get in there, about an hour walking. When you finally get there, there's this gorgeous waterfall with different places you can jump, cliff dive, have fun. Recently, when I was there, they also set up this really cool Tarzan swing, which we were able to like swing around and and really enjoy ourselves in there. You have to be aware that this hike has been very exposed to tourism over the last 5 years, and they've currently closed the original route. However, there is a route to get to Maunawili Falls right now, a legal way. It starts from the Pali Highway. Don't park your car at the lookout though, because you will get a ticket. But there is a legal way to get there, which is what we did on our last visit. Next on the list is a more general item, but it's road tripping Oahu. You can rent cars in Oahu either from rental car companies or through an app like Toro. Me and my best friend, we used an app called Toro and were able to rent cars directly from the locals. Doing this, we saved sometimes up to 50%, and we were able to rent a really cool convertible and a really cool Jeep Gladiator. I would highly recommend that when you're doing the Waikiki side and when you're doing the East Shore that you rent a convertible. It's really, really cool to go around, and there's these beautiful stretches, blue ocean, whales you can see. On a good day, you can also spot Molokai in the distance. There's beaches you can go to all over the island, and having a car when you're visiting Oahu is definitely a must. I wouldn't necessarily say you need a car for your entire stay, but renting a car for those days you want to get out and do some excursions, see some beaches, maybe do some hikes, is really, really a good idea. Number 6 on the list is called the Pink Pillbox Hike. The reason it's called the Pink Pillbox Hike is because back in the day, someone painted this old pillbox defense system from World War II in full pink to support breast cancer for women. Today it's become an iconic hike that you just have to do on the west side of Oahu. Once you get up there, if you have a drone, you're gonna be able to get this pink pillbox in the blue ocean in front of you. There's also some really cool ridges, which I took the 360 camera on. I was running on the ridges, getting some really, really cool footage. Be careful though, it's quite steep, but on the way up, remember to bring some water, some sunscreen, some hats, keep in the shade. You're gonna love it. Once you get up there, it's really, really one of those stunning views of Oahu. Number 5 on the list is Kualoa Ranch. Kualoa Ranch is a privately owned farm on the island of Oahu. It's where you have seen a lot of major Hollywood movies being shot when they're shot in Hawaii. Just walking through there is really cool. We did an e-bike tour that was set up through my friend Kevin. So we went around there. I brought the 360 camera. I was able to really capture us as a group going around, seeing all these different film sets. It's really something you should consider doing. They also have ATV tours and horseback riding tours on the farm, which could be maybe something for you to check out. For number 4, we're jumping over to the next island. We are flying over to the Big Island for this one. So the Big Island is the biggest island in the Hawaiian island chain. It's a little bit more remote, but very, very beautiful. This tip is e-bike Kona, Hawaii. So Kona is the capital of the Big Island of Hawaii. And when me and my best friend went there, we kind of very quickly noticed the large distances that you have to be traveling when you're going around there. So when we went to Kona, we decided to try something called a Hawaiian e-bike, which is a really cool system the government's put in place where you can rent a bicycle and go from one end of the town to the next one. I brought the 360 camera and we're able to really capture us going around. This is a really fun adventure, and you can explore shops, beaches, restaurants, and some fine dining experiences. I would also highly recommend that when you are in Kona, that you also visit the famous shave ice place. They're wonderful Americanos, and don't forget to try a local dining experience. So for tip number 3, I'm gonna tell you something very, very important. When you come to Hawaii, you absolutely cannot miss a really local poke bowl. So a poke bowl is a bowl filled with rice, spread with some tuna, and usually some hot sauce on the top. I've tasted probably 20 different poke bowls on all the islands of Hawaii, and the best one we have found so far is actually out on the west side. You can find it on this very local supermarket. You walk in there, it doesn't really look that much, but when you try it, when you eat it, I promise you it will be worth it. I would also highly suggest that you bring the poke bowl with you out to Makaha Beach, all the way out west, and that you bring some friends, maybe your girlfriend or your family, that you all enjoy the sunset while eating this delicious Hawaiian product. Number 2 on the list is, again, for those who are a little bit more adventurous, This one is diving with sharks on the north shore of Oahu. So the north shore of Oahu is where all the surfers live. It's very local, but it's also very nice up there. There are some wonderful activities you can get into. You absolutely have to explore Haleiwa, but after you've done that, don't forget to go diving with the sharks. I lived on Oahu when I was a student for 2.5 years, but I actually never went up to really dive with the sharks. I think one of the reasons I never went to swim with the sharks when I was living in Oahu is because I was feeling scared most of the time. But after being in the water with these giant sharks, I realized that it's really all about being with a safe instructor. So we had 4 people swimming around us at all times, eyeing the sharks, making sure that we were keeping our dominance in the water. It was a mind-blowing experience. We got some really good footage, and it's something you really have to do on your trip to Hawaii. So for number 1 on the list, the one thing you just have to do when you are in Hawaii is to visit the epic water slide on the Big Island of Hawaii. This is where the 360 camera really came in handy because it's such a hard thing to really film the adrenaline of going down this slide. But I put this camera in slow motion mode, 2.6K, 60 frames, and I walked up there and just sent it down this slide. And I think the footage really reveals how much fun it is. To get to this hike, you're passing by something called Waipahu Valley, which is very sacred to the Hawaiians. There are a lot of locals living in the areas where you're gonna have to start the hike. And what we did is that we asked for permission to go in, and that's something that is very smart of you. It's a local neighborhood, so parking your car is a little bit tricky too, but asking and always being open is really gonna get you places. So there are a lot of people doing this hike the same day, so it's not like it's not something that is done, but it's just important to do it in the right mindset. So getting in there takes about 1 hour. You have to walk through these really sketchy tunnels. The whole adventure in itself is really cool, but the grand prize on the end is finding this water slide in the middle of nowhere that you can just go down inflatable tubes. So a tip for you there is to pick up some inflatables at Walmart before you go. They're most likely going to explode at the bottom of the water slide. We saw this happen to several people, and we've actually had to pick up trash on previous occasions where we've been there. So a reminder is that when you do this epic water slide and you go in there and get your cool footage, to also bring the trash home. Very important. There are a bunch of other videos available for you if you're more interested in some of these topics that I've talked about today. Specific videos about every single one available on my YouTube channel under the Hawaii playlist. Other tips that I really want to share with you in this video is that coming to Hawaii is honestly going to change your life. Coming to that island is going to overwhelm you with positive energy. You're gonna understand why Lilo and Stitch in the Disney movies talked about ohana, they talk about aloha. It's really something that's very present on this island. Personally, for me, it was a very, very nice feeling to come back to the island. I hadn't been there for the last 5 years, but I felt as welcome as ever. And I think it's very important that when you visit Hawaii that you always take precaution and that you respect the locals. Some of the islands are very crowded and people are a little bit tense. But as long as you show that you're here to respect the aina, which means respect the land, you're gonna be fine. So I just want to thank all of the people that welcomed me and my best friend Kim on our last trip to Hawaii, our family on the Big Island, Ate Jing and Uncle Mike, for showing us some local Hawaiian ways of living, making our first lei. It was really, really nice, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little travel guide with some epic footage, adventure footage. Again, this video is sponsored and brought to you by Insta360, my favorite action camera right now. They're doing a lot of really cool stuff, and I got a lot of questions when I was visiting Hawaii. What type of camera are you using? A little bonus tip at the end of this video I'm gonna share with you is how revolutionary this camera is when you are jumping into water and trying to capture someone. So previously, when me and Kim have been filming cliff diving, we've used an action camera with a 1-point shoot, and it's really hard when you're jumping next to someone from 10 meters to get them in the frame at all times. The slogan of the Insta360 is to never miss a shot again, because this thing films everything that's going on around you. So you never really have to worry about not getting a shot or your mom getting a shot of you, or your girlfriend missing you doing the backflip. It's never gonna happen because this thing films everything, and later in post, you're gonna reframe the footage and make it fit what you wanna see, which is really, really cool. So that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this Hawaii video. Aloha guys, mahalo for watching the video. I will see you guys on the next travel vlog. Until then, ciao!